Um, how did you first hear about the protests at ICE?
Um, I think on the news, uh, when it first started, when it was like really crazy out there, when there was breaking the windows before they boarded it up, you know,
Early.
early, yeah, and uh, I wasn't like super into going out there at that time. I think I went out there before all this, like drove by on a scooter to check it out. But I didn't stop. I just looked, and I didn't wear MAGA gear because I didn't know how it was going to be, and it was a lot crazier, and there wasn't a lot of patriots out there at that time at all, like none, except for Honey Badger Mom and Katie Davis Court and Cam sometimes.
So what made you want to go out there?
Charlie Kirk, what they did to Charlie, I felt like I had to go out there and have my voice heard and let ICE know that Americans support them and that they got love all over this country. Yeah, seeing Charlie Kirk, it changed something inside of me, and it made me have to come out and use my voice and let people know that this is America and we're going to keep it great.
So Charlie went to colleges and talked to people. So he was out in public and like
a lot
exposed, and he actually got shot doing that.
Yeah.
Did some of that courage, like, was that part of it? You going out there and confronting the people?
Yeah, I don't want people in this country to think that that's going to stop us from getting Charlie's message out.
Right.
Killing Charlie the way they did, it just amplified his voice 100-fold, I think, at least inside of me it did.
Do you remember the very first day you went?
Yeah. The very first day I went, like in all my MAGA gear, and I showed up there, and the first thing that I seen, like after being there for 5 minutes, was Richard lighting a flag on fire. It was just a little one, but he was just sitting there and just lighting a flag on fire. And I told him, I was like, if you hate this country so much, then why are you here? Like, why are you burning our flag? And that's pretty much how it started. Because as soon as I started talking to Richard, like I wasn't even yelling, or I just was asking them, like, what are you doing? And they came and swarmed me. Like, leave him alone. No, it was a couple black blocs. I think it was the dude that I got into it with the first time was there. I think that it was like still daylight outside, so there wasn't a lot of black bloc out there yet, But it was a transgender dude. Like it was a few of the ones that are always out there, that's for sure.
So that first day, did you try to go find Honey Badger, or what was your goal?
No, I was just out there to just see what was happening. And the first time I went out there, I was kind of nervous. I didn't know what to expect, so I just went out there with my head on a swivel and just checking it out. And once they started yelling at me for trying to protect the flag, I just started going back at them, and the nervousness went away and the anger came out, the frustration. I just kept hearing Charlie's voice in my head, like, say what you got to say, And so I did, and I started chanting for ICE. And that first night when I went to leave, there wasn't really nobody else there that night besides me for the Patriots, And so when I went to leave, I made a mistake and I parked my car super close, and they followed me to my car, And on the way to my car, one of them came up running behind me and snatched my hat off my head, my MAGA hat, and stole it and took off running. And I didn't chase him or nothing. I was just like, whatever, fuck it, it don't matter, And later that night, somebody sent me a video on TikTok or something of them burning my hat, So the first night I went out there, it was kind of chaotic.
They were immediately on.
They immediately hated me to the max. And then I didn't go back the next night. But then the night after that, I went back, and that's the night that I got into it with that dude in front of ICE. So it was like the second time I was there.
That first night, though, that happened. They took your hat. They followed you to your car.
Yeah.
You got home. What were you thinking?
I was thinking it was crazy. I was thinking like, we need more people out there, and we need to be out there more often. We need to let them know that they are the minority and we're the majority. We just don't we're not like them. We have jobs, we have lives. We can't be out there 24/7 like them, you know. But now patriots are coming, and they're starting to see. They are seeing that we're not going to let it fly no more, you know.
So were you thinking like how is this possible in a city? Like,
Yeah, the cops weren't. There was no cops around. Like at that time, I didn't see a single PPB officer that whole first night, the whole second night. Like even when I got into a fight with that dude, like they pulled us in the building. The cops never showed up. You know, ICE
so
pulled us in the building, but the PPP never showed up that night.
let's talk about that night. You got there, you were on the front line, and what happened?
When with the fight,
Yeah.
so this dude, I was chanting for ICE like I do. I didn't have a megaphone at that time. That was when I was still just yelling with my voice, and I was in front of ICE, and he didn't like what I had to say. And I had just got a new gimbal for my phone, and I was using it, and he started following me around, getting like inches in my face, all around, up and down ICE, in front of ICE, and I was trying to walk away for good 20 minutes. I walked away from him, tried to stay out of his face, wasn't trying to get crazy, and then it finally came to a head. You know, in front of ICE. I got frustrated, and I put my camera down on the little ledge right there in front of ICE, and I turned around to say something to him, and he smacked my phone and gimbal off the thing, and it went flying, and he took off running. You know, and so I picked up my stuff. It was broke, so I just took the phone off, and 5 minutes later he came back doing the same thing, getting in my face. But this time he kept bumping into me and pushing me and hitting me. And then finally, I turned my back to him to walk away, and he pushed me one last time. And I turned around and was like, all right, I'm over it. And that's when he started kicking me. And once he kicked me, I was like, all right, I'm just going to defend myself. And I still have my other phone, my phone in my hand. So I was just swinging with my right hand. And once I put my phone away, it was a wrap, you know? Yeah. Once I put my phone away, it was a wrap.
So what happened? FBS came out and arrested both of you?
So they didn't arrest me. They came out of like 5 minutes later because once he got up, he came right back and was getting in my face again. And I was having it back. I didn't want to hit him again, you know, and I was backing up, moving away from him as much. And the whole time I was watching his eye swell as he was following me around. You could see it go from normal to like black and swollen by the time the cops came or the ICE came out to arrest us or to detain us. Here it was like swollen shut, you know, and I was backing away from him in front of ICE, and that's when I seen all the ICE officers coming out, and I knew they were going to snatch him up, you know, because I thought they were like, oh, he's still attacking them, so we're going to go snatch him. And when they grabbed him, he fell, and when they grabbed him, I just walked up and was like, I got to come with you guys too, right? And they're like, yeah, come on. So I just automatically put my hands behind my back. They didn't handcuff me, never did at all. Took me in and had me sit down in the chair, and I got to listen to him cry, the dude cry and bitch about ICE, you know, but they were super respectful with me. Right when we got past the gate, the cop that was walking with me, the ICE officer that was walking with me, he said, you're good, bro. We saw the whole thing. Like, you're fine. We just had to separate you guys, you know, and they had to do their little report or whatever. And we get inside, they put me in a holding cell. And they're like, you're going to go out the front doors in like half an hour. Just let it cool down. You know, they did their little report, took a picture and stuff. And they were super nice. And when they were getting ready to let me out, they were like, did you used to box when you were a kid or something? And I was like, no, I just grew up in Stockton and learned how to defend myself, you know. And they were like, we saw that. You can do that very well, you know. Like they were laughing about it. They knew that I tried that. They were up there watching the whole time, they recorded the whole thing, the lady that was up there, and they watched them follow me around and follow me around and follow me around. And then once he started touching me and putting his hands on me, then I just, you know.
Did you sense any appreciation for you just being out there at that point?
Yeah, the ICE officers love me. Like I go, and there was one night I was going to each one of them, and I was like, God bless you, we love you, God bless you. And they were like, God bless you too, Tommy boy, we love you too, you know. And I was like, hell yeah, dude, you know. It made me happy. It made me happy to know that they know that we're out there supporting them, and patriots love them. This country loves what they're doing for this. The people in this country love what they're doing for this country, no matter what all these radical leftists say, you know.
So, but by that second night, your hat was stolen,
Hat was stolen.
your phone was messed up, and
Phone,
you were attacked.
Yep. all within 2 days.
That's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
what was that feeling like for you?
It made me want to go out there even more. It made me want to keep going out there because honestly, if they hate me that much, then it's going to be effective. You know, if they hate me being out there that much, then it's doing exactly what my purpose was to be out there, was to show them how they're out there harassing ICE every day, making them feel like shit, yelling at them, cussing at them. So we're going to go do the same thing to them and let them know how it feels like, you know, and I plan on being out there until they're gone, you know, as much as I can at least.
So you hooked that guy. That became pretty viral, like quickly, right?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Weird. It's still weird being viral like that and having so many people that support the cause and what we're doing and what I'm doing. And it's still very strange, but it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of good people in this world. You know, all over the world, people are supporting. Australia, the UK, Canada. You know.
You weren't expecting any of that, right?
No, not even a little bit. I had like 50 followers on X when I went out there. Like I barely was even on X. You know, and it just blew up. You know, they liked my voice. 35. Yeah. 35,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that night you got in the fight. When did you come back? What was the next?
The next night.
The next night.
Yeah. And then the next night, it wasn't really chaotic. Nothing really crazy happened, I don't think. But the night after that, it was like 2 days. No, I didn't get arrested that time. So yeah, the next few nights were all right. And then Nick Sorter and all them came out, and I got to meet all them, and it went crazy with all them out there.
So let's talk about that. That was the first Patriot weekend. That's when.
Yeah, well, I met Nick Sorter before that. I was out there and I was still at ICE. The Patriot Corner was after I got arrested and I couldn't be at ICE anymore. So it must have been a few nights. Wow. I met Nick because he was walking past their little encampment and I was in front of ICE and he was recording and they were following him, yelling at him, getting in his face, saying, "You can't record in public. You can't." And I didn't even know who Nick was at that point. Like, right. I just thought he was just a normal person just recording out there and they were attacking him. So I went and ran and was like, he can record wherever he wants in public. You know what I mean? Leave him alone. Ooh. And they were like getting right up in Nick's face. So I got in front of Nick and was like, get in my face like that. You know what I mean? Like what? And it just, and that's how I met Nick. And I didn't even realize it was Nick Sorter, I think, until like the next day, you know?
So you're right. He actually got arrested too.
He got arrested right before I got arrested.
Yeah.
The night before I got arrested. I think it might have been like the next night.
Yes. And then Nick was on the roof and then people were chanting USA.
Yeah.
So that's when it started to turn a little bit.
It did, yeah.
People started showing up besides just you.
Yeah. After that dude got knocked out and it went kind of viral, things started changing pretty fast. People started showing up, but slowly but surely, and it's still people showing up. New people show up every night, it seems like, you know.
So was that, when did they attack your car?
So that is the night that Nick and, so Chad Canton was there. Caton, I can never say his name right. Yeah. Chad was there. Nick was there. There was quite a few people there. Ryan was there, you know, and Nick and them were going to try to walk down the sidewalk. And when they did, he had the burnt flag that he saved, you know. And when they did, I seen that they were doing it. So I went over there with them. And as soon as we got to their little illegal encampment, they started swarming Nick and Chad and Ryan. And I was behind them all. And I could just see Nick getting dragged into the tent by Khalid, whatever his name is, Waleed. Getting dragged like he had him in a chokehold, basically, it seemed like trying to pull him into the tent. And the dude that I went to jail for protecting myself that night, he had been there in the same mask almost every night, just saying the most vile shit. You're gonna get Charlie Kirk, you're next, you know, like evil, mean stuff. Like he wanted death on us, you know. And so when we finally got Nick off the sidewalk and into the street away from the violence, I turned around to make sure nobody was following. And here comes that dude with his mask on running straight at me. And he had a can of bear mace in his hand. And once he got in my face, like close enough to me, I just reacted, and I ended up going to jail for disorderly conduct in the second degree and assault for a misdemeanor, for defending myself. And afterwards, when I was walking away, trying to get away from everybody throwing water at me and getting crazy with me, they were like, "You're not allowed to defend yourself. You're not," all Antifa were saying. I said, "I just defended myself. He came at me with bear mace. I was just defending myself. And I wasn't trying to run or hide from the cops. I knew the cops were going to come and grab me. Like I cooperate with them no matter what, like they're just doing their jobs. But they were literally yelling at me, "You're not allowed to defend yourself." So that's what they expect. They expect to be able to attack. And then when you defend yourself, they cry victim. And that's exactly what happened with me. And even now, we've talked to a couple cops, like not on camera, and they said if we would have seen the whole video, if we would have got it all that night, they probably wouldn't even have arrested me. Like at least a couple of the cops said that. There's a lot of good, decent cops out there that've been out there recently, but in that time there was a lot of like cop Tifa. It seemed like they were like 596. I don't know his name, but Sergeant 596 was like, he was not good out there at all.
So that night you got arrested, was that when they marked your car and like?
Yeah, so that night I got they didn't let me out of jail until like 3 a.m. And I was gonna leave my car there until morning because I was super tired. But when I got home, I was like, you know what, babe, just take me over there to get it. I don't want to leave it there. And I had a weird feeling. And so when she took me over there, I was walking up to the car and she was gonna get in the driver's seat of the other car. And she walked up to the car and she's like, "Oh my God, the windows." And that's when I noticed the back window was shattered. All the mirrors were broken off. All the lights were broken out. Like they fucked it up. They kicked dents in it. It was a beater car. I had that car for a long time and I only paid like $900 for it. It was a to and from work car only, but that was my transportation for work. And they seen it and they just destroyed it. They just hate us that much.
And that kind of started where they were really going after you, right?
Yeah.
At that point, they started trying to figure out who you were and like.
Yeah, they doxed me and all that shit. Yeah, that's when I quit my job and let my bosses know like, hey, they know where I work. They threatened my wife, my dog, me, threatening to come to my work and harm me, and I didn't want like my coworker to get harmed because of me. And I had been there for like almost 5 years, and I just didn't want to bring that drama to their business. So I decided to step down. And honestly, it's been a blessing and a curse at the same time. Like, there's been a lot of great things. I feel like I've gained a whole new family, like a whole new cause in life. Like, but it's stressful on my family, stressful on my wife, stressful on her parents. My mom in California, they support what I'm doing 100%. And they love that I'm being out there and being part of the future and being part of this cause, but they're worried about me.
Yeah.
They daily, they threaten my life. People saying that they got to kill me to earn Antifa's respect. And, and so I get it. I get why they're so worried about it.
When did your wife first say like, "Oh, I'm worried"? Was it the car?
It was, well, the first night they burned my hat. They snatched my hat off my head. So she was stressing from the first time, but then I got in that fight, the first one, and it was completely self-defense. Even the police said it. It's like they called and asked the police if they wanted to press charges or whatever, and they said no. It's just mutual combat because it was obvious that I was just defending myself,
right.
But after that, and then after I had to defend myself and Nick and them, and went to jail and had to spend most of the night in jail, then now she was worried, and then they doxed my house and my work and all that, and that stresses her out, bad.
So you lost your job.
Yeah. I mean, I quit.
You couldn't keep it.
I didn't want to bring it. Yeah. I had too much respect for them. They've done a lot for me over the last 5 years.
So back to the night with the car, that also went kind of viral. People.
Yeah. They raised quite a bit of funds and helped me get a new car. And it did go viral. It did go viral, and it was pretty great. The support that we got, and the help. And now we got a nice new truck, and it worked itself out. Thank you, Antifa.
So that was just before the first Patriot weekend. Your
Yeah.
car is what caused the
Yeah,
the
and
next
then the
phase
200-foot ruling of not being able to go within 200 foot. And so I had to, I'm staying over there. And then that was the first Patriot weekend where we were all over there. JD Delay and all these people showed up.
What was that like?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was absolutely heartwarming. It was like the vibes that night were absolutely spectacular on that corner. It was pretty great.
With shit and stress for weeks, so
Yeah.
it was like a big turnaround.
It really was a great feeling, and everybody coming up and shaking my hand and saying how good we're doing, and all the support. It just feels fabulous, bro.
And so that started like an organized push to like clear the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. The first couple of attempts.
The police had no choice. There was so many. I think there was so many of us out there that they couldn't allow us to like butt heads, so they had to not pick sides anymore and say, all right, you guys got to get this shit out of here. You know what I mean? And I think that's when the cops finally first started enforcing the laws. Before that, it was lawless down there. They didn't do anything.
And the Patriots also started to build their own camp, right?
We did. We had tents up, and people brought food and barbecued. And but the difference between us and them is at the end of the night, we cleaned all of our shit up and took everything down and didn't leave a piece of trash out there. We were out there to support ICE and show them that we love them, and it's working.
Was it intentional to say like they get a camp so we get a camp, or was it?
It was kind of like that, like, oh, if they could do it, we could do it. You know what I mean? So if they're doing it, let's do it over here. And it evolved from a lot more than just that. It evolved to like a whole new community family. Like it's pretty crazy.
So some other things started to happen right around then is your side, the right wing, started to also wear black bloc.
Yeah.
And carry flags. So you were mirroring exactly what they were doing. What was that about?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are starting to wear black bloc because they seen that I got doxxed and that I had to quit my job, and that if your identity gets out and you're supporting ICE and you're supporting Donald Trump and American values, then they're going to do everything in their power to shut you down, and they'll come after your family, they'll come after your dog, they'll come after your job, and a lot of us, we have jobs, we work, we have lives outside of it. You know what I mean? So they can't risk that situation for their family, or you know what I mean? And I totally understand that.
So maybe it was 2 weekends of y'all building the camp up and sort of trying to push in, and then the police said nobody gets to camp, nobody gets to be on the sidewalk.
That last Patriot weekend where it all got shut. Well, it was the one before the last one. I think they tore down everything. The whole sidewalk was cleared that night. It was a big win.
So Antifa was saying that y'all came through and stole things and tore their camp down. And what happened actually?
We didn't steal anything. They left all kinds of trash on the side of the road. Like they took their tent and they took the things that they wanted to the other side of the street, and then they just left all this trash all on the side of the road. All this stuff that they didn't want. So Patriots cleaned it up all up. They grabbed stuff and threw it in the trash, and they might have kept a few things, but it's obviously garbage if they just leave it on the side of the road. You know what I mean? Like lost property, like that cop tried to steal my horn saying it's lost property when he knows damn right.
So that all kind of crescendoed into that camp getting swept.
Yeah.
And then the next weekend, we started to see a lot more people with their phones up.
A lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people are out there streaming. There's a lot of people streaming, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I'm all about getting more eyes on the situation out there and getting more publicity and letting people see that us being out there has made a huge difference. Before we started going out there, it was huge crowds of Black Bloc, and they had everything set up. They had the run of the place, you know. But now there's no encampment. They can't be on certain property. They can't jaywalk across the street, you know, and that's because of us. That's because of the Patriots being out there. Like if we wouldn't, like they went what 5 months unopposed and got to do whatever they want, and we come out there for a month, month and a half, and it's all shut down.
So you're touching on something people nationally didn't really capture. Like people thought the protests were just about Trump and immigration, but
Yeah.
there's also underneath that, like the lawlessness, the noise affecting the residents,
The neighborhood, yeah, all the
You
gas
met a lot
because
of
they
those
won't
residents.
they won't leave, and they blame ICE for having to come out and move them off the property, and they blame ICE for having to use the canisters. If those people weren't there, ICE wouldn't be out there throwing gas. ICE wouldn't be out there using pepper balls. If they weren't there harassing them, none of this stuff would be happening, and that's what they don't realize, you know.
So this back to the streamer war. You think overall it's pretty positive? Is there any negatives that you've seen to people going out?
Well, people think it's all just like a game now, you know, but if you see the big picture, then you see that the cameras make a difference. You know, the cameras being out there and capturing everything that's happening, it makes a difference. I'm sure there's people that come out there with ill intent. You know, like we've had our dramas out there. You know, we've had issues with people. But for the most part, most of the people that come out there and are recording, they're out there for the right reasons. You know, they're out there to get this shit, to get this out even more and show other states and cities that if patriots show up and counter protest all these ICE idiots, then it can make a difference, you know, like Portland is proof of that. Portland is 100% proof of that. We need more patriots to go and counter protest the ICE protesters and just do it as much as you can. Go out and just have your voice heard. Tell ICE you love them. And that's all it takes is to be out there with some American flags, telling ICE we love them, telling them we love Donald Trump and we love what they're doing for this country. And eventually, if you fight hard enough, then something will happen.
So you claim credit, or the Patriots do, for the camp getting removed, the noise ordinance getting enforced.
Yeah, no noise after 10 o'clock, even though sometimes they still do it, you know. But for the most part, after 10 o'clock, it's silent.
And that was because of y'all.
And that was because of the Patriots. I feel like it was a huge influence. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a huge influence.
So the camps are gone. No noise after 10 p.m. But we're almost into December, and people are still out there. You're still going out there.
Yeah.
Where are we at this point?
Well, we just want to let them know that we're going to keep coming out there until they're gone. You know, like there might be just a few of them, but when there are a bunch of them, we show up too. You know,
they're still telling the ICE agents to jump.
And they're still saying the vile things to the ICE officers. They say the most vile things to the Portland Police Department also. Like, and there's not all the cops are good, but a lot of them that I've talked to out there recently are great officers, you know, and we have nothing but respect for our law enforcement and for our federal law enforcement. And so we want to be out there to be able to counter what they're saying and say, hey, no, bro, we love you guys. And we're thankful for what you guys do for this city and for this state and for this country.
Yeah. Do you have any regrets?
Nah, I don't regret. I regret going to jail. I regret them arresting me for clearly defending myself, you know, but I don't regret. No, because I feel like it's everything that's happened has happened for a reason, and it's made a difference. So, and I'm happy right now. Like I'm part of something that I'm proud of, and yeah, I don't regret it. Like I would do it again if it brought me back to the same place that I'm at right now.
So 10 years from now, you look back on this time, what do you think What's your takeaway? Did your life change?
My life changed drastically. I think 10 years from now, I'm hoping that I'll still be doing what I'm doing today, you know, and hopefully not in Portland. Hopefully all this Portland stuff will be done, but I plan on going and doing more activism and going to Texas. Like as soon as my court case is done, I'll be able to do whatever I want, you know, and there's lots of people that want me to go do lots of different things. So I will look back and say that I was on the right side of history and that we made a difference that day, you know?
Good stuff, Tommy.
Yeah.
Really good, man.